Hello, hello. Welcome back to The Power of You. I'm so honored to be back here today on my podcast. And I'm so honored that you are here. And I wanted to take a moment before I pressed the record button. I was thinking about how grateful I am for the people who listen to my podcast, to the lives that I'm able to touch, impact in whatever way, shape, or form. And yeah, I wanted to express my gratitude and also tie it into the power of you. And when I'm saying you, I actually am talking about you, the listener, because the power of one is so under celebrated or undervalued because it really does take just one person, one action, one decision, one word. And yeah, it goes back to one, the power of one, and the power of you, which, is so interesting because it's like that's the name of my podcast is The Power of You. And I want to take a moment here to let you know that you do have a lot of power. Not that you have power over me, but you just have power within yourself, your energy, your frequency that is able to, in a way, fuel what I do, because I honestly share the information I do. I let you in on my journey because I believe that at the end of the day, whatever I have to share, as long as it impacts one person, that really is all that matters, because I am that one person that was impacted by my mentors, right? And here I am continuing the ripple effect and impacting different people, but it's happening all like one by one. So I wanted to take a moment to share my gratitude and my appreciation for you as a listener. And I really hope you are able to feel my gratitude and appreciation from this little segment before we get into the episode for today. So again, thank you so much. You and other listeners are what makes me come back to my podcast and want to share and want to be vulnerable and want to pour into the world, the community, the collective, instead of just keeping everything inside. All right, so I'm going to go into the episode for today. Today, I actually posted a short reel on my social media about boundaries, and I decided that I wanted to expand on that, and I wanted to do it here on my podcast because I have other ways of sharing. I could go on my YouTube, I could actually do another video on my social media, but I am actually really trying to learn to hone my voice, to learn to speak from a place of authenticity without worrying about the lighting or without worrying about where I'm looking on the camera, right? I want to speak from the soul, from my heart, and this is just such a perfect place because I can just focus on my voice, what I want to say. Sometimes when I can close my eyes and it won't look all weird. So that's a big part of why I love podcasts. And also, I am such a big listener of podcasts as well. I listen to them like every single day, most of the time, even on weekends. If I get a moment or two away from like my fiance or my family, then I, put in my AirPods and listen to some podcast episodes. So it is very near and dear to my heart. And I know that, as a consumer of podcasts, like I want to be able to provide that for you as well. So we are talking about podcast today. We are talking about boundaries. And in my reel, if you want to go take a look, feel free. It's on my Facebook and my Instagram. But my reel was basically talking a little short riff about boundaries and the power of boundaries and the effect that it has and the information and clarity you get from boundaries. Because I don't know about you, but for me, I've always had like a negative slash, negative in a way, association or just negative context when it comes to boundaries. I used to think that it was something that people used to use to create distance. It's something that people use to do what they want to do. And I saw boundaries as very selfish, but in a negative way. Like, adding on to that, my upbringing, my parents didn't have boundaries. I wasn't taught boundaries. And I'm sure my grandparents didn't have boundaries either. And it's just a generational thing, right? And if you all know, I consider myself to be a trailblazer, a generation, what do you call it? A generational cycle breaker. And so I'm here to break that cycle of having no boundaries, because I have now seen the beauty of boundaries, and I've had a whole journey on learning how to even identify what boundaries I needed. And in that process of identifying the boundaries that I needed, I had to learn how to connect to myself, connect back to my body, my intuition, my feelings and emotions, and really assess, like, is this okay with me? Is this not? Like, am I people pleasing? Am I doing this for myself? What is good for myself, right? Through that whole self-discovery journey, I'm able to realize that I lack boundaries here, here, and here. And from that place, once you're able to be aware of where you don't have boundaries and where you do have boundaries, that is when you have the power within you to I don't want to say draw boundaries, but to address and to communicate. There you go. Communicate is the word. To communicate your boundaries in a loving way, in a very neutral way. You can communicate your boundaries in a way that's not attacking the other person, right? You can come from a place of, this is what I need. I've realized this is what I need, and I would love for you to be able to be part of that realization and to help me honor my boundaries. And I really believe that the way you talk to someone about something makes all the difference. The tone, the words you use, like, it's so important to, when you communicate your boundaries with someone, is to not make them feel like they did something wrong. Instead, to make them feel part of your process of creating those boundaries and helping you maintain those boundaries. Because at the end of the day, they're going to feel like they helped you in a sense, uphold your boundaries, right? And who does not like to feel like they're helping people, right? Because I really feel at the core of every human being that there's a genuine desire to help. I don't know what it is about human nature, but Mother Nature, God, the universe really instilled that peace within our heart to feel good when we help others. So that's a little side tangent, but yeah, so let me reel it back to the boundaries. Yeah, so when you're able to realize and become aware of where you lack boundaries and what boundaries you want to implement, and let me just say this up front, it is not a short journey. Like, this takes trial and error. It takes lots of interactions with people. It takes a lot of awareness. So I just want to put it out there. So once you've figured it out and you're like, okay, I'm going to do these boundaries, there's two things that can happen. At least I want to simplify it, right? The first thing is that people will realize that you are putting in boundaries, and they will honor those boundaries, and they will actually work with you with that boundary, and they will stay in your life. And the other scenario would be people realize that you're putting in boundaries, and that will trigger something within them, and they will feel like you're taking something away from them, like you took something away from them, and they will actually feel offended, or they just won't like it, or they just don't see the same value in your relationship with them, and they most likely throughout time will pull away if they are not meant to be around you. And so with those two situations, what is beautiful about this whole situation of having your boundaries and honoring them and upholding them is that it gives you so much information. I just want to kind of put this very point blankly, very simple is that it gives you information. It gives you information on the other person without actually having them tell you what they think or how they feel about you and how they feel about your relationship with them. Because if you can imagine this, if you have your boundaries and someone honors it and they're like, oh, okay, cool, yeah, like let me try not to do that next time. What information did you just get from that? Well, you just got that they didn't, they didn't take offense to what you said in terms of your boundaries. So that must mean that they also have boundaries of their own, and they can recognize within you that your boundaries, because they have boundaries of their own, so they have a mutual respect for that. And you can also get information that that person cares about you enough that they're going to try to be different next time. And maybe you get some information of like that how they respond to you, or maybe you can get information of what they were meaning to say or do when they crossed your boundaries, right? You can gather information from the person, and if the person that you're setting boundaries with is actually triggered and mad at you for putting up those boundaries, what information does that give you, right? For me, it could just taking an example of like if my friend, like I say the boundary of like I cannot hang out on weekends because that's when the only time that I get to really spend with my fiance. And if my friend is not happy with that and starts saying that I don't care about her and all that stuff, then that gives me the information that that's how she feels, that maybe that she only is considering her side. The other information I might be getting is that she's not real flexible with making our relationship work, that maybe she's just wants to do things that will be easy for her and convenient for her, right? Whatever the information you gather from the reaction of the other person who's receiving your boundaries, it gives you clarity on the quality of your relationship, on the other person. And I think it's such a beautiful thing. Like, I don't want to say it's right, wrong, good, or bad. I just see it point blankly as information, as data. And from there, you can make a decision on how you want to move forward with your relationship. So I love having conversations about boundaries because I used to really suck at them. I used to not even be able to recognize a boundary, period. I didn't know what they were. And when I was back like a few years back, when my boyfriend, then boyfriend, now fiance, gave me had his boundaries, I always thought that he just didn't care about me and that he was selfish. Like, I literally did not see it as, oh, this is his boundary, he's only willing to go up to here, or he is protecting his time and energy by saying no to me on this thingy. And I used to be so mad, upset, and I took it so personally back then. And it's been such a journey for me to reel myself back, and through lots of work on myself, love and dedication and compassion on my end to myself, I'm able to realize that it had nothing to do with me. It wasn't personal. He was honoring his needs, his boundaries, because he had awareness around what he needed, and he needed time and energy to fill his cup. And so I have so much respect for that now, and I just think it's so important because it frees so much energy, frees up so much space that you have when you're able to not constantly worry about other people and what they're gonna think and do the people-pleasing thing that most of us do, right? And we can still fall into that not trap, but like that old way of being, old way of acting, very habitual, right? And the more you do this, the more you stay true to yourself, and the more you uphold your boundaries, the more natural it's going to be, and eventually it's going to become just part of who you are, and your boundaries would just be like not even boundaries anymore. It's just how you treat yourself and what you expect other people to treat you as. And I'm sure you've heard of this before, but other people learn to treat you by watching how you treat yourself. So if you're able to love and respect yourself and really honor yourself and do what you say you're going to do for yourself, then they see that as, oh, she loves herself, she respects herself, like she commands that respect and honor, and I'm going to treat her that way, right? Because so we teach other people how to treat us by how we treat ourselves. And I think that's so important. So yeah, so boundaries. I would love to hear what your thoughts are on boundaries. I know this is just like really skimming the surface of boundaries. Boundaries can go so many ways. There's so many layers, so many things that go into it. But at the end of the day, it's all about having boundaries so that you can create a healthy, loving relationship between yourself and other people. So the relationship between you and yourself, that's one. And then extending that out to the relationship you have with other people as well. So I'm not going to give you too much more information to process or to consume, but so I just wanted to keep it simple, and I hope that when you receive, small bits of information, you can actually really, really take it in, soak it in, let it integrate it into your life, really see different parts of your life and your relationship, and really assess the boundaries there, and take action on it, because we can learn so many things, right? But when we actually take the action and apply it within our lives, that is when it gets fully integrated. The more you do it, and eventually it will just become who you are, what you do, how you think, and it won't require so much willpower, So I really hope that was helpful. And again, thank you so much for tuning in. I love being able to share and to really allow you to be impacted or influenced by, whatever I have to say, because I feel like whether you agree with me or not, I still think it's so valuable for you to be able to identify your own truth from what I am saying. Whether you agree or not, you're still getting information about yourself, and you're still learning about yourself. And that's the beautiful thing. And in human design, if you are into human design and you know a little bit about your design, if you have an open mind or an open head, those two, like if you have an open or undefined, which means they are white, and not colored in, then that means you are very open to other people's ideas and beliefs, and you can take them in and try it out for size, and then if it works for you, you keep it, and if it doesn't work for you, then you can toss it. So I love that idea, that belief, and that's where I'm coming from, because I myself have an undefined head and an undefined ajna/mind center, and so I'm one of those people who love to hear different perspectives and really see how and if it applies and fits into my life, and if it is helpful and if it adds value. So, and for those who have a defined head or defined ajna, it doesn't mean you're not open to other people's ideas, but once you have locked in your beliefs and your ideas and your ways of being, it just takes more effort on your part to go out of your way to believe or to learn something different. And so that's a little bit of human design for you. I know I don't speak about human design very often as I used to, and because I'm just getting back into the groove of things, but it is always working in the background. Human design is a part of how I function and how I think now, and all the energetics of it. And I just love when my mentor referred to human design as energetic intelligence. I just fell in love with that term, because it is so true. Like, I believe too many of us don't know the energies, the energetic side of us, and that has helped me so much once I've learned about the energetics of my design and how my energies work. And so yeah, maybe I will do like a little energetic intelligence episode in the future, if my sacral feels lit up for it. But for now, let's go back to boundaries. And yeah, so I hope that this episode on boundaries was helpful. If it was, please let me know. You can write me on social media, or you can leave a review here, or even on the podcast episode itself. I believe you can leave comments, or yeah, comments on the episode. I would love to hear from you. And yeah, again, I'm so grateful for you being here and listening. And I would love to connect if that feels aligned for you. And I guess that is it for now. So, again, have a beautiful day. Do you, do good by you, protect your energy, be an amazing, powerful human being that you are, and really love yourself and have compassion. And you are way more powerful than you think you are. So I am excited to be part of your journey as we all rise together. So I will see you in the next episode. All right, bye.